Let's take another look at a different sentence that's a bit more relevant to some of the problems at hand. So let's have Robert injects ivermectin. So this horse deworming subject that's a drug that's been the subject of various conspiracy theories as a treatment for COVID-19. So we can submit this. And, similar, a very simple sentence, of course, but the key thing here is that we have the notion of injecting. So I've just actually added injecting as a concept to SUMO, and then I've mapped it to WordNet, and so we get the SUMO concept of injecting. And I've also added very recently ivermectin. So that also is loaded into the lexicon. And it has a semantics with it, and so here we get Robert injects himself with ivermectin. That's the patient of the injecting event, and Robert is the agent. All right, so we can take a quick look at ivermectin. So not really much to it other than we know it's an antiparasitic. An antiparasitic is a biologically active substance. An antiparasitic is something that is a medicine for a parasitic disease. And we can look at parasitic disease. Parasitic disease is designed to attack parasites that are part of the body. Okay, they're medicine for parasitic diseases. What's a parasite? Okay, a parasite is an organism. It's an organism that is likely to be located at a host, and the parasitic actions that it performs benefit itself, but the host suffers as a result. So that's the notion of a parasite as opposed to a symbiote. Right, so just a little more information here. So this is the Sigma knowledge engineering environment as opposed to the natural language interface. Has a whole host of different other things that we can try. Every time you look for a knowledge-based term, that's a term in SUMO. It has associated a number of WordNet synsets with it, so we can also browse the WordNet lexicon. So we see here that WordNet has the notion of epizoan, and that's any external parasitic organism like a flea. It's also mapped to the SUMO term of parasite. We can take a look at WordNet. We can browse its hierarchy. So it has a hypernym of a general notion of parasite. That's above the notion of ectozoan. And it also has a very specific kind of ectozoan, a flea. And then there are also derivationally related forms. So one point to make here is that, of course, WordNet is a lexicon. It has some semantic information in it, but its semantic unit is that of the word or linguistic concept. It doesn't actually have any sort of logical definitions, and even the semantic links are not really logically reliable. They're linguistically reliable and kind of as one-step hops through a graph. But if you follow those hops transitively, they stop really being true. So it's not a logical product, it's not an ontology, but it is extraordinarily useful for natural language processing, and it's been a really tremendous resource for work with SUMO and NLP. So let's go back. We can also get a graph of information. I think I showed this to Sanjay a little while ago. We need to log in as administrator. Then we'll have access to more of these functions. So let's go back and let's look at parasite. Okay, there's parasite, and we'll refresh here. So we'll get the visual graph option. And we're going to look at all relations. So we're going to look at the constellation of all things that are in the knowledge base around parasite. All right, so parasite is a subclass of organism. It has lots of other things here that are somewhat tangentially related as we go out several hops. The notion of different kinds of relationships, antisymmetric, reflexive, irreflexive, asymmetric. We have a whole host of these different kinds of relationships. So SUMO is enormous, and one thing we do in this graph is just kind of give you a nearest neighborhood. That doesn't mean that all of it is going to necessarily be relevant, but it's a way to explore, and then you can recenter the graph on the new concept that you're interested in. So just another engineering or scientific tool to kind of look at things and help you get a sense of what's going on.